Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're going to trace the incredible path of a young volleyball player. I mean, we're talking from the very first time they touch a ball all the way to the insane pressure of a national championship.
And this quote from coaching legend Russ Rose, it just perfectly sets the stage, doesn't it? This whole story is about that idea, constant growth, facing huge challenges, and just pure, unwavering dedication.
All right, so here's our game plan. We're going to follow a player's journey, step by step, right through the super dynamic world of youth volleyball. So, where does it all begin? Well, every great journey has to start somewhere, right? For a volleyball player, it all kicks off with that simple, pure joy of just playing the game. And you know, this is exactly what programs like Mini Volley are all about. It's designed to be accessible, to be fun. It's about building a foundation on a real love for the sport, not burying kids in complicated rules or intense pressure right out of the gate. Okay, so from that initial spark, that love of the game, a player starts to build their foundation. This is where they really begin to learn the ropes. Now, players learn a ton of skills: passing, setting, hitting, the whole deal. But one of the first major defensive skills they get a handle on is blocking. And it's so critical, right? It's the first line of defense, happening right there at the net, in the absolute heart of the action. And check this out. It's this perfect three-part sequence. First, you get into that ready position. Then, you just explode upward, arms fully extended. And finally, you land, totally balanced and ready for whatever the other team throws at you next. So here's the thing you've got to get about blocking. It is not just about who can jump the highest. Not at all. It's all about razor-sharp timing, super smart positioning, and complete body control. You have to nail all of that to be effective and avoid a fault. Seriously, every little detail matters here. And this is such a great point from the legendary coach Marv Dunphy. He's basically saying you don't learn these skills in isolation, you know? They're perfected by practicing them together in situations that feel like a real game. It's about creating that seamless flow, pass, set, hit, from defense to offense. Of course, learning all this stuff, it doesn't just happen. You need a guide, a mentor, which brings us to, well, the absolutely crucial role of the coach. And what's interesting is there's no single right way to lead. You've got different styles. A democratic coach collaborates, which is awesome for a younger team, just building trust. Then you have the holistic style, where players take more ownership. That's probably better for a really mature, self-guided team. So let's look at one side of the coin. You've got Olympic gold medal coach Doug Beal, and his philosophy is all about pushing athletes past their limits, beyond their comfort zone, to really achieve greatness. But then, on the other hand, you have a totally different perspective from Coach Mark Pavlik. He sees the coach more as a stabilizing force, the calm in the middle of the storm, helping all the pieces fit together. And this leads to a really cool modern technique called feed forward. Think about it. Instead of dwelling on what a player did wrong, you focus on what's next. It's about looking forward. This approach is huge because it empowers players, helps them learn to coach themselves, and just makes the whole dynamic way more positive and effective. All right, so as these players get better, as their confidence skyrockets, the journey leads them to much bigger stages. We're talking about something like the Volleyball Canada Youth National Championships. And yeah, the stakes there are a lot higher. I mean, the intensity is just off the charts. Imagine this. Over a packed 3-day event, a team is going to play at least 7 matches. That is a serious test of not just physical endurance, but mental strength too. And you can bet that in an environment that intense, you're going to run into some tricky situations. Like, what happens when you have a 3-way tie in your pool? How do you break that deadlock when literally every single point matters? Well, there's a system for it, and it's super methodical. Check out the hierarchy here. First, they look at the head-to-head record between the tied teams. If that doesn't settle it, then they move on to the ratio of sets won and lost. And only after that do they look at points. The whole thing is designed to be as fair as humanly possible. And things are always changing, right? The sport evolves. To help manage all that intensity, there's actually a new rule coming in 2026 that's going to ban artificial noisemakers, so no more cowbells or air horns. The goal is to create a more focused atmosphere for everyone. So, after all the practices, the wins, the heartbreaking losses, and that insane competition, it makes you step back and ask the biggest question of all. What's the point? What is this whole journey really for? And Volleyball Canada has a really powerful answer for that. It's called the person pillar. It's all about focusing on these essential building blocks for an athlete's total well-being, not just on the court, but off it too. This whole framework is a reminder that the real goal, isn't just about creating amazing volleyball players. It's about developing people, resilient, caring, courageous people who feel like they belong and are safe.
And they actually put this into practice with simple but brilliant tools like this player info page. It helps a coach connect with their athletes as people first. They get to understand what motivates them, their personalities, what their life is like outside the gym.
Which brings us to this final thought. In the end, what's truer than the truth? The story. Because beyond all the skills and the final scores, what really truly matters is the journey itself. It's the player's own unique story of growth, teamwork, and ultimately self-discovery.